Good afternoon, everyone. This is some breaking news. We were back on the air here at Right Side Broadcasting Studios in Auburn, Alabama. I'm Steve Lookner. The breaking news is that the U.S. Senate has voted 52-48 to eliminate the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees. They have gone nuclear. They've chosen the nuclear option. So previously in the Senate, for a Supreme Court nominee, it took a majority, 51 votes, to confirm the Supreme Court nominee if you had a vote. But what the opposition could do is the opposition could filibuster. The opposition could get up there and talk and talk and talk and never let a vote be taken. And the only way to break the filibuster was to have a 60 people voting yes to end the filibuster and actually have the vote. So before, you could filibuster a Supreme Court nominee and make it so that 60 people were required to end the filibuster and actually take a vote on the nominee. That has now been changed. Now, this just happened today, just minutes ago in the Senate, they changed the rule so that for Supreme Court nominees, all it takes to send the issue to a vote and end the filibuster is a simple majority, is 51 votes. 50 plus the tiebreaker. So no longer will it take 60 votes to overcome a filibuster, effectively ending the filibuster strategy for Supreme Court nominees in the Senate. Now, under the Democrats in 2013, under Harry Reid's leadership, the Democrats had already gone nuclear for federal judges below Supreme Court level and executive appointees like cabinet appointees. But Supreme Court nominees, the filibuster still remained for them, but now that has been done away with. So we will not have to hear about filibusters every time somebody gets nominated for the Supreme Court. From now forth, unless the rule is changed at some point again, which I would not anticipate happening anytime, or at least anytime soon, all that will be needed is a simple majority in the Senate to confirm Supreme Court justices, to get them to a vote, and to confirm them. And I am assuming at this, so right now, Micah, do you know that they changed the rule and they voted to end the debate within a certain amount of time on Neil Gorsuch? I believe that happened. If Micah can hear me, I'm not sure if he can. So I think what's happened is not only have they changed the rule, but I believe they have voted to have a vote on Neil Gorsuch sometime soon. I don't have the exact number on that. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but my assumption would be is that in the next day or so, they're going to have a vote. I'm just coming on the air now. I'll let you know if I get more information about this, about when exactly they will vote to confirm Neil Gorsuch, who presumably will be confirmed now. So that's big news coming out of the Senate today. And let's see here. Oh, here we go. I got this. Micah told me this before. So there was a 55-45 vote to limit debate and actually bring Neil Gorsuch for a vote. And I believe they said 30 more hours maximum of debate, which would mean in the next day or so they will actually vote on Neil Gorsuch going to the Supreme Court. And presumably he will pass. He will be approved. So that just happened. We'd love to get your comments on this Senate going nuclear and changing it and getting rid of the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees. We can actually take some calls while we're on the air, so if you'd like to call in, the number is 202-470-0049. Feel free to call in and give your thoughts on this. Also, feel free to write in. We'd love to hear your thoughts via words as well, written words as well. You can either go to Twitter. I'm at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER, and you can direct message me there, or you can email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. But let us know what you think about all this. Are you happy about this, or are you upset because now you're like, well, if the Democrats get in power, the Republicans can't filibuster their Supreme Court nominees. So it works both ways. I am just checking here to make sure we don't have any comments I am ignoring at this point. I think I'm all caught up. Let me just get my email posted up in case you email in. And, this had been talked about for a while, and there was some question as to whether this would actually happen. But it's, at this point, it just seems like it felt like it was time, like it was going to happen. The Senate, you don't have, these days, you don't have a lot of people crossing over and voting with the other side. It didn't used to be like that, but the Senate's different than it used to be. So part of me just feels like it was time to get rid of it. for the Supreme Court nominees, just because it felt like it was just this thing that we kept hearing about again and again and again. But it also felt like the kind of thing where you had gotten to a point where it wasn't realistic to expect the opposition party to vote that much with the party in power. That had changed. It used to not be like that. But I'm wondering, will we see a day again when we have like a Supreme Court nominee nominated by one party or the other and we have like an 80-20 confirmation vote? Will we ever see that again, or is it always from now on going to be, 50 to 40, 52 to 48 or 55 to 45, and just the number, just you have most of the people voting on their own side? Don't know. But once again, would love to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say about this, what your thoughts are on this. So write in, give me a shout, or call in. Mrs. Smith writes in. Mrs. Smith says, excellent news, about time they act like they're in charge. So Mrs. Smith, you are happy with this. Thanks for writing in. You can call in or write in. Call in at 202-470-0049. Come on the air, tell us what you think. Or email me at steve.lookner@rspn.tv. Or direct message me on Twitter at Lookner, at LOOKNER. Want to hear your thoughts on this day. I also saw just a little news about President Trump. He is flying down. They just showed him getting on the plane, Air Force One, flying down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the Chinese president. Is it Xi Jinping? Am I pronouncing that right? President Xi of China. So that is happening. So all kinds of stuff going on right now. So to say again, this breaking news, the Senate has gone nuclear on Supreme Court nominees. They have voted to change the Senate rules. From henceforth, you will no longer need 60 votes to break a filibuster about a Supreme Court nominee and get a vote on a Supreme Court nominee. You will only need the simple majority of votes, 51 votes, no longer 60. So filibustering as a strategy will not really work anymore for the Supreme Court nominees. We have a phone call. It is David on the line. David, thanks for calling. Where are you calling from?
Hello, how are you doing? I'm calling from Miami, Florida.
Great. So thanks for calling in, David. What are your thoughts on the Senate going nuclear today?
To me, it's pretty much just bringing it back to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Not afraid whatsoever. I see that now the Republicans are putting their big boys pants on and start being intimidated by what these Democrats, they want to change the Constitution. And this is just bringing it back to the Constitution way. I believe in the Constitution, and I didn't see no reason why this judge shouldn't be approved to the Supreme Court. And this is great to me.
So you're happy with this, David, and also, you said talk about the Constitution. Filibusters. It's worth pointing out, filibusters are not in the Constitution. It was a part of the Senate rules that got put in there, but it was not originally in the Constitution. And it sounds like you're happy with this. Now, David, are you worried at all that, like, let's say in 4 or 8 years, a Democrat becomes president, they get to now nominate their Supreme Court nominees, and the Republicans can filibuster. Republicans can no longer filibuster Democratic Supreme Court nominees. Do you care about that, or are you just happy that Republicans now will be able to get their nominees through?
I'm not afraid at all. That's the way it should be, and let it be whatever it's going to be. I don't think the Democrat is going to be in the majority after what they just did. And anyone has any common sense on voting for these people who pretty much just trying to kill this church for no reason. People are not going to be voting Democrat. I really doubt it. I used to be one. I used to believe in that. I became independent. I never voted in my whole life. I decided to vote for Mr. Trump just pretty much for this reason only, to let me conservative, judge to the Supreme Court. And I'm glad that he did. He followed through, and I concur.
And do you think this is a good sign for President Trump's administration? And you talk about like the Republicans putting on their big boy pants. Do you think this will give them some momentum moving forward, maybe get to pass some legislation they want?
Absolutely. People are going to see that pretty much Mr. Trump is not playing. He went up there for a reason. He named those people. I think it was like 21 of them on the list. Who has done that? And who in the right mind will show their car. And he did show his car. And this is not a surprise. I don't get it. Why are these people protesting that?
Well, it sounds like you're happy with what happened today, and you're supporting President Trump, and you think that this is a sign of good things to come. So really appreciate you calling in, David, and sharing your opinion with all our viewers today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one, David. That was David from Miami. He was quite happy with what's going on today, and something he said is he thought that Republicans were putting on their big boy pants. And we had actually, it's funny because David said that, and another person who wrote in, I think it was Mrs. Smith, who wrote in, a couple minutes ago on Twitter, she said the similar thing. She said about time they act like they're in charge. So a number of you are happy that the Republicans are taking control of things and rather than being passive, it sounds like. So interesting view. Thank you for sharing your views. We'd like to hear from more of you. So feel free to call in. Give a shout, 202-470-0049. Give us a call. Or direct message me on Twitter, @Lookner, or email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. We want to hear your views about this news. Let's see. Let's see what we have. Dejected Prescription wrote in, I tweeted before that I thought when Devin Nunes recused himself from the House Intelligence Committee investigation earlier today that Bannon was removed from the National Security Council yesterday, and the Devin Nunes thing happened today, and I tweeted out that I thought the left will find something within a week to be outraged about. And Dejected Prescription just wrote to me, and he said, how about within the day? So we'll see if there's something new that comes very soon that the left is outraged about, the way they were outraged over Devin Nunes and Steve Bannon and Jeff Sessions. But right now we are talking about the Senate going nuclear. They did it. So no more filibusters of Supreme Court nominees. That is done. And that means now if there are other openings in the Supreme Court under President Trump, no worries about a filibuster. They will all the Republicans have to do is just get a simple majority, and right now they have the majority of the Senate, and they can pass whoever they want through. It'll be interesting to see, will this affect how President Trump chooses his nominees? Now that President Trump knows there's no filibuster option for the Democrats, will he maybe go with some nominees who might be very displeasing to Democrats, might be seen as on the spectrum way more towards pleasing to Republicans and conservatives, that he might not have chosen if there had still been this filibuster option? Don't know. We will see if there are openings, and we'll see who he nominates for them. Let's see here. I'm catching up here on things. And we will also bring to you, I'm assuming when we find out where this vote is, our plan is, if this vote is televised, to bring you footage of the vote. We'll let you know when that is. If you want to know when we're coming out with videos, doing breaking news coverage and televising stuff, follow us on Twitter @RSB Network. Follow us so much. And right now, we are just covering this breaking news right now, taking your calls, taking your emails, taking your questions. And also, to repeat, if you didn't hear before, there will be no Sean Spicer briefing today. It's interesting, there was no Sean Spicer briefing the last 2 days. There was none on Tuesday. Yesterday, President Trump had that press conference, but there was none yesterday and none today. I don't know if we should read anything into that or just read into that they didn't feel like having a briefings or they wanted to take a break. But that's the latest as to what's going on. Now, I should point out also that there is this one place where there still is a filibuster in Congress and in the Senate, and that is in legislation. I think it's only in the Senate and not in the House because of the rules. But in legislation, yes. How the voting process in the Senate for Gorsuch works? Okay, so I think we got a question from one of our chat viewers, Garrett, about how the voting process works. So I think you might be asking about how the voting for Neil Gorsuch works. So what they were doing now is they were having this debate on Judge Gorsuch as a prelude to actually voting on him. So you debate about it, and people get up and say, I think Gorsuch is great, I think Gorsuch is bad, here's why we should vote yes, here's why we should vote no. But the way the rules are written in the Senate, they allow for this debate to keep going on and on and on. So in theory, in theory, like the Democrats in this case, could get up and keep talking about Judge Gorsuch, and they could keep talking and talking and talking and never stop talking. And by continually talking amongst themselves, the Democrats on the floor, there would never ever be a vote on Gorsuch. Now, there is a procedure by which the debate can be ended, and that's called cloture. You have a cloture vote, and when you have a cloture vote, you vote to end the debate within a certain amount of time and actually vote on whatever is being debated. So, but the way the rules were before today in the Senate were that to vote on cloture, to approve cloture, to stop the debate and actually say we can only have a fixed more amount of time of debate, and then we're going to have to vote on this. You needed 60 votes to stop a debate. So the filibuster worked because the opposition party could get up there and just start talking and talking and talking. And obviously the people in power wouldn't want the next 3 years just be debating on Neil Gorsuch. So they would eventually, they would either have to end the debate or just give up on the nominee because they wouldn't want to bring the business of the Senate to a standstill while debate on the nominee went on for years. So previously, it would have taken 60 votes to get the debate stopped on Neil Gorsuch and get a vote taken on Neil Gorsuch. And the vote only requires 51 for Gorsuch to pass. But what the filibuster would do is it made it so that 60 people were required to end the debate and actually have a vote. The rule that got changed today is the rule of how many votes it required to end the debate and actually have the vote. And that got changed to simple majority. So now, if somebody gets up from the opposition and starts filibustering and starts talking and talking and talking and saying, like, I'm going to keep talking and I'm never going to let you vote on this thing because I'm going to keep talking and talking for months and years and you can never have your vote because I'm going to keep talking and keep debating. All it takes to end that debate and bring the issue to a vote is now, when it comes to Supreme Court nominees, is now 51 votes. So, and all it takes to get the Supreme Court, and then once the vote actually happens, after the debate ends, all it takes to get the nominee passed is 51 votes. So that's what got changed today. And so you need a vote to end the debate. If the debate isn't ending, you need a vote to end the debate. And then once the debate ends, you have to have another vote on whether whatever you were debating actually gets approved. And in this case, the debate is on Neil Gorsuch. So you need, what happened so far is what happened today is they voted to change the rules about how many votes were needed to end the debate. And they lowered that from 60 to 51. Then they voted to end the debate, and they got 55 votes. So if they hadn't changed the rules, that wouldn't have been enough, but they changed the rules. So now that 55 votes was enough. They voted to end the debate within a certain amount of time, I think it was 30 hours, and have a vote. So at the end, so now there's a certain amount of time that's fixed, that the debate will last longer, and at the end of that time, they will have a vote on Neil Gorsuch, and presumably he will pass. So I think that's what you were asking about, Garrett. I hope I answered your question adequately. Thanks for asking. We have a comment from Tom Cipolla. Oh, Tom, what are you replying to, though? Yes. Tom Cipolla writes, interesting, but it can be a double-edged sword. Think of the way Obama stacked the circuit courts. Not sure if this applies, but could be risky. So what Tom is writing in is there's no more filibuster allowed now, so the Democrats can't filibuster Republican Supreme Court nominees, but it works the same way if a Democrat is president. So let's say a Democrat's president and you have a Democratic Senate, then the Republican minority in the Senate can't filibuster those nominees. So what happens if, let's say at the end of Trump's presidency, a Democrat becomes president, okay? And let's say through whatever circumstances, you have like 4 or 5 nominees, say Clarence Thomas resigns and, Alito or who else, you have a bunch of nominees. Let's just say 3 or 4 of the most conservative people on the court, they retire or whatever. We could imagine a Democratic president choosing really liberal justices, liberal ruling justices, because they don't have to worry about a filibuster. So, something Tom Cipolla is worried about is, hey, this is a double-edged sword. It could come back to hurt Republicans. We'll see what happens. A lot. Oh, and so I'll say that in a second. So thank you. So It's a good point, Tom. We'll have to see what happens with future nominees and when people actually end up leaving the Supreme Court or retiring or whatever. Special shout out, Joanne Goldsnyder just donated $50 to us online in the Super Chat. Thank you, Joanne. We really appreciate it. That's really nice of you. As you've heard me say before, if you've watched us before, your donations keep us on the air. We cannot broadcast without your support. We rely on your support to be able to bring you our coverage of the news and President Trump's rallies and give you an alternative to the mainstream media. So if you'd like to donate like Joanne did, thank you again, Joanne. If you'd like to donate, go online. If you're watching this online, you can probably see a chat room next to us. And at the chat room at the bottom, there's a $sign, and you can click on that $sign. You can donate any amount, even a small amount. If you want to donate $1, honestly, great. Every amount helps us. Every amount keeps us on the air, and we really appreciate donations, no matter how large or small. So thank you, everybody, for all your donations in the past, and even the last couple of days, we've gotten some donations. Really appreciate it. But we hope you would consider donating to us, and you can also donate by going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Thank you also to the moderators for moderating the chat today while we've been on air during this different coverage. And don't forget also, so we have our YouTube chat, but we also have the chat on rsbn.tv. You can go into, if you go into the recent events, you can find there's always a ongoing chat going on there, so feel free to check that out as well. Tom Cipolla also adds, I hope Mr. Gorsuch is worth this risk. And it might just not be Mr. Gorsuch, Tom. Something Republicans might say is, well, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg or, who else? Kennedy, they resign. Or Breyer is 78, so he could resign too. We'll see what happens. But it might not just be this nuclear option, going nuclear, might not just affect the Gorsuch getting passed, but it might allow a couple other judges to get nominated and passed by President Trump. So we will see what happens. We are going to be on for a few more minutes here. If you'd like, we'd love to hear more of your thoughts. Thank you all for writing in and calling in so far. More of your thoughts on what do you think about the Senate going nuclear and eliminating the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees. You can either call in 202-470-0049. Or direct message me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, or email me at steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I should also really quickly check, I meant to do this before, just check my Twitter and just see if there's any comments coming out about going nuclear. So let me do a quick... So Joe, according to Jamie Dupree, who I follow on Twitter, he's great, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia calls it a sad day for the Senate. He said Reid was wrong in 2013 and McConnell was wrong today. I wonder if this means that Joe Manchin didn't vote to go nuclear. But they voted 52-48, so I'm presuming it was just Republicans who voted to go nuclear. So Joe Manchin says it's a sad day for the Senate. He didn't like when it was done in 2013, didn't like when it by the Democrats, didn't like when it was done today. Let's see here if there's any other comments people have come out with about them going nuclear. Excuse me while I keep going through my Twitter just to make sure there's not more comments on this. There's got to be people commenting on this. So, well, I think what happened is stuff happened a little while ago. If I go back on Twitter, I have to go back even farther. So anyways, I don't think we have heard a comment from President Trump or the White House about this. So we'll see. Now, presumably, President Trump, at some point, I'm guessing, will be doing some sort of press conference with President Xi of China when they're at Mar-a-Lago, because he did a press conference with Theresa May of Britain. He did a press conference, a couple other ones that we've seen with, who else have we seen him give press conferences with? Netanyahu, he did when Netanyahu visited. The King Abdullah II of Jordan when King Abdullah visited. So have to imagine we might see a press conference with President Xi of China. And maybe, I wonder if President Trump is going to talk about this going nuclear before then, or will he wait and be asked about it in the press conference? Don't know. We will see. All right, so I think maybe people have said what they want to say, so we'll maybe stay on for like a minute more if you want to send in a last comment, but otherwise, we have Solomon's Temple has a comment, so I'll read Solomon's Temple comment. Solomon, you wrote this earlier, Solomon's Temple. This was on Nunez. Something, I'll read this. You said you were complaining about Nunez being stonewalled while attempting oversight since January. Is the Ethics Committee investigating this as well? So that's about the Nunez thing. But thank you for writing that in, Solomon's Temple. But I think people are all commented out, at least for now, on the Neil Gorsuch going nuclear thing. So what we're going to do today is we are going to keep our eye on the news for you. We will keep our eye on what's going on in Florida. President Trump is flying down. I think he's having dinner tonight with President Xi, if I saw that right, of China. That's happening. We'll let you know if we hear anything more about Syria, any more statements on Nunez, anything interesting going on in the Senate. We will bring it to you. And even on the weekend, if stuff happens on the weekend, we will cut in, we will come on live and bring you breaking news. For now, tonight, for more on this, maybe they'll talk, I have to assume they'll say something about this stuff. Watch our Right Side Broadcasting show. So tonight at 8, we have America First with Nick Fuentes. And at 9 p.m., we have the Wayne Dupree Show. So if you want to hear more about all the events of today, check them out tonight as well. And then tomorrow night, we will have Mike Cernovich on at 10 p.m. in addition to those shows, The Right Mindset with Mike Cernovich. But for now, I'm sorry? Jake? The left? What, Jake? Oh, I'm sorry. Jake was saying left, and I thought he was saying like I had to say something about the left, but it was moving to the left. That's what he meant. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up here right now, but we appreciate you writing in. Thank you for the phone call, David. Thank you all for your comments, and hope you've enjoyed our coverage so far of the breaking news today. If there's more breaking news, we'll be back on here at Right Side Broadcasting. But for now, have a great day, and we'll see you soon.